Fear the Walking Dead is back for Season 7 Part B, and this episode here was dedicated to Alicia. Let's break it all down and let's review Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 Episode 9, Walk This Way. What's going on, Walking Dead family? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Viking. Make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for a brand new video every single day. And a reminder, on my channel right now is my review and breakdown for the Fear the Walking Dead spin-off show titled Dead in the Water, which is a prequel and follows the character from Season 6, Riley. Go check out my review for that on the channel. But Fear the Walking Dead is back, and it will tie us over until the brand new Walking Dead show comes along, Tales of the Walking Dead, and that will keep us going until the main show returns after the summer. Okay guys, this episode right here, it's dedicated to Alicia. Alicia, of course, if you remember, in the last episode, we got to see that she had been bitten. She had to cut her arm off, but she did not turn. But she's still sick. It looks like that some of the infection has affected her body, but she's not going to turn into a walker from it. She might get really, really sick, but she's getting a lot of fevers. And this episode was confusing at times because of a lot of dream sequences, but also we're introduced to a very new character named Paul, who I liked quite a lot. Now this review and breakdown is from tvline.com. We will go through it. We will talk about what we like and did not like about this episode. And you guys get into the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Okay, let's get into it. All this and bagpipes too. Season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead resumed on AMC Sunday with a trippy episode in which Alicia made a new friend, lost a new friend, engaged in some especially fanciful dream analysis, and yes, was treated along with the rest of us to some bagpipe playing. And if you read on, we'll go over all the latest speed bumps and potholes that she hit on the never-ending road to mythical Padre. After Follow Me started us off with a dream sequence in which the late Senator Vasquez renominated corpse urged Alicia to follow him down the yellow brick road to Padre. Our main character awakened and made the acquaintance of a deaf musician named Paul, who had found her unconscious in a barn and taken her to his soundproofed house. Since to save him from a walker, she'd broken the stereo that he was blaring to feel the music a la Beethoven, he didn't want her to leave without helping him obtain a new one. Before they could run out to the closest post-apocalyptic Radio Shack, Arno came knocking. Too half-assed in his search of the house to notice Alicia hiding in the piano, yes, in it, Arno left Paul with a walkie-talkie to call him if she turned up. Should we all have 50 lying around just in case? Yeah, seems like there's a lot of gas masks and walkie-talkies available in the post-apocalyptic world. Once Arno left with his men in a truck full of walkers, Alicia and Paul got to know one another better. She admitted that her pursuer blamed her for getting a bunch of his people killed, following Walker Vasquez to nowhere. Hey, you tried, Paul said. She didn't have to keep beating herself up about it, even if the stalkers wanted to. For his part, Paul admitted that he played all of the instruments in the house except for the bagpipes, which had been his late wife's thing. Her scream was the last thing he heard before Teddy's warheads blew out what had been left of his hearing. Now the stereo helped drown out the sound. Just as the twosome found a new stereo at a concert hall and Alicia invited Paul to join her in trying to take Strand's tower, Arno showed up. He would have fed Alicia to her victims in his truck if Paul hadn't started shooting. In the ensuing melee, he dropped the stereo, and Arno escaped. No more did Alicia want Paul to join her. Arno was right. People around her got hurt. She decided. But Paul was now convinced that they could help one another drown out what they didn't want to hear. His wife's scream for him. That voice saying, "Follow me," to her. First, Alicia and Paul would have to dispense with Arno and the stalkers. To do that, Paul used the walkie-talkie and lured the villain to stop by his house, at which point he attracted walkers by cranking the stereo that he'd lifted from his and Alicia's getaway car. Things didn't go quite according to plan, however. Walkers wound up in the house, the music died, Arno shot Paul, and he and Alicia found themselves in a bedroom with no way out. He wanted her to go. She insisted that she wouldn't. But you know the drill. In the end, she allowed her dying pal to play the bagpipes to provide sonic cover for her to make her escape. On the road, she bumped into the girl who apparently helped her into the barn, and feverish as she was, collapsed. After that, we watched a variation of the dream that started the episode. This time, however, it wasn't Walker Vasquez telling Alicia to follow him to Padre. It was Alicia telling herself to do so with all the series regulars behind her instead of the ill-fated stalkers. When Alicia awakened, she was on Morgan's submarine. In short order, she admitted that she hadn't been able to convince Arno to help them to take the tower. But she knew how to raise an army. She was going to return to the bunker and use its radio to send a message out to people like them. People that just wanted a safe place to live. Madison had her dream, Alicia noted. Nick had his. So had Morgan. Now it was her turn. Paul had guessed that the voice telling Alicia to follow me had been hers all along. And now Morgan reckoned that she herself was, in a way, becoming Padre. All he had to do was be ready when Alicia returned, she told him. As the episode drew to a close, Arno and another stalker gazed down upon a cavern full of trapped walkers. It was noisy and hard to hear, but as far as I could discern, they were going to use the horde to take the tower for themselves. I have to say, I liked this episode in pieces. I like the character of Paul. I wish he had survived. Maybe he'll get his own spin-off episode like Riley did, because I think the character's pretty interesting, but I could see the ending coming from a mile away. I had guessed it in the first few moments I had met Paul, that he would sacrifice himself for Alicia by using the bagpipes. And that's exactly what he did. That's what I would have did. But the episode as a whole had some kind of plot holes for me, especially when he said, "My house is soundproof." How did that walker get in? At the end, all the walkers came to the house, even though it's supposed to be soundproof and all that kind of stuff. Just stuff like that didn't match up with what they were saying. Arno is an okay side villain. He won't last this season. He will be killed off pretty shortly. But he will be a threat in terms of having that horde, maybe taking down the tower. But if they want the tower, and the tower is supposed to be a safe place, don't damage the tower. You have to make it livable for yourself after the war ends. So maybe the war is not worth it if there's not going to be a place to live after. And Alicia now has come to the conclusion that she is Padre, that she can be Padre for people. I still think Padre is either a place or a person. Maybe Madison is there because she is returning this season at some stage, but maybe Padre actually does exist, and I think it does exist, and I think Padre could be something very, very interesting, but Alicia is not sure if it does, and now she wants to go back to the bunker, get a radio, and get people together. It just seems very cheesy at times, Fear the Walking Dead. Season 6 for me, I think, was better than the last season of The Walking Dead. I really mean that. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really well done. This season so far, it seemed like the budget is a little bit smaller, because they're going into the tower, and then of course the wasteland and stuff like that. It looks cool at times, don't get me wrong, but there's not a lot happening. And now each episode is following a different character. We had that last season as well, but it kind of intertwined with Morgan's story, which was really interesting. I kind of want more of that. I want more of the fight between Strand and Morgan, because for me that's some of the best scenes. And Morgan, Lenny James, who plays Morgan, is fantastic, and I want him in every single episode. And also Dwight, doesn't appear as much as he should either, which is unfortunate. But this episode for me was a solid one. I liked watching it. Alicia as a character, I like her. You know, it's interesting that she lost her arm. Paul was a good character. Arno is just an okay villain. But I thought Paul was a badass. He sacrificed himself. He helped Alicia at the concert place. And yeah, I like that character. It's a pity he died. But the episode as a whole was just fine. It was a solid watch. It was okay. Nothing fantastic. Not one of my favorites of this season. But it definitely progressed the story a little bit in terms of Alicia. And she thought she had to follow this walker, you know, Vasquez. But she learns that she has to follow herself. She has to lead. She has to lead other people to safety. She is going to be Padre to other people. Is Padre a place, a person, or it doesn't exist? I don't know. We will find out. But she is going to try and take the tower to make people feel safe, have somewhere safe to live. The tower is pretty cool, but if a war happens, will it still be cool? Will it still be there? That's what they'll have to think about as well. And Morgan is fully behind her. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it develops. Madison will return later this season. That's exciting. But I think the show is at its best when Morgan, Strand and Dwight are in episodes together. I want to see more of that. I really, really do. The Walking Dead is kind of like the realistic version of the zombie apocalypse. And for me, Fear the Walking Dead is like the fun fantasy type, you know? Cheesy at times. But guys, what was your thoughts in this episode? Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, get into the comment section, let me know your thoughts, come follow me on all the social medias, and also guys, don't forget to check out my review for the Fear the Walking Dead spin-off movie, as I call it, mini movie, Dead in the Water. I enjoyed that one more than I enjoyed this episode, but guys, check out that mini movie, check out my review, and let me know your thoughts. Guys, thanks for watching, and Fear the Walking Dead will keep us going until Tales the Walking Dead, and then the main show will be back for its last 8 episodes, which is very, very sad, scary, and exciting. Guys, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And I will see you back here for next week's review for episode 10 of Fear the Walking Dead. But in the meantime, every single day, there is new videos. Marvel, DC, random movies, TV shows. Keep an eye open for all that good stuff. Guys, see you in the next video.